Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement.
Good evening, you're watching government-funded news. Joining us in studio today to discuss the implications of his ended deal with the Liberal Party is the leader of the federal NDP, Jagtear Singh. Thank you for making the time for us, Mr. Singh.
My pleasure.
How would you characterize your agreement with Justin Trudeau?
We've torn up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. I've torn that up.
Okay, bit dramatic. You do know that simply tearing up a piece of paper doesn't mean anything, though, right? You still said you'll vote for the government on a case-by-case basis?
Well, I don't know what the votes are going to be, so we'll see what the vote is, and I'll make a decision based on what comes before me.
Oh, there's going to be a confidence vote. Yeah, no, the Conservatives are going to want it. Like, what are you? You're kidding? Are you crazy?
I don't want to deal with hypotheticals.
Okay, moving on. How much responsibility do you bear for the lack of success seen by your party?
We've brought in the biggest expansion of healthcare in a generation. I'm proud of the work that we've done. I'm running to be Prime Minister of this country, and I'll be leading the party to the next election, absolutely. So
you bear no responsibility for your inability to capitalize on the Liberals' falling numbers?
We're going to be running to form government in the next election. I'm be running for Prime Minister.
You're being kind of evasive. Your assistant said that you would give us some straight answers.
He knows he's lying.
Would you say that you've thought this whole thing through thoroughly?
Not at all.
Well, it's been suggested that you might be the next Prime Minister of Canada. What do you make of that?
It's a ludicrous suggestion.
Well, you've been very generous with your time. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Are elections bad for democracy? Sure, it might sound crazy, but Canadians don't want elections. Elections are far right. Canadians just want the Liberals to continue to govern.
Canadians don't want elections. They just want us to do the job. They just want us to govern.
I love democracy.
Canadians don't want elections, and if you think you do, you're wrong. And just disregard all the public opinion polls. We're the only source of truth. Okay, that one does sound a bit weird. Former CBC host Carol Off wants to take the word freedom back from the far right. Off's new book, At a Loss for Words, Conversations in an Age of Rage, traces what she calls the manipulation and weaponization of language through the lens of 6 words. Freedom, choice, woke, democracy, truth, and taxes. According to Off, the word freedom has been co-opted by the hard right, citing anti-vaccine convoys in Canada. Yes, the anti-vaccine protests attended by people, a group who 90% of whom were vaccinated. Really understanding the nuance there. Yes, the word freedom has been co-opted by the hard right. Because, as we all know, freedom means taking a new medical product with no long-term safety data that you'd rather not, in order to use a train or go to the movies. What could be more free than that?
To ransom our future in exchange for our freedom? You call that a fair trade?
Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for watching Go FU News. And remember, Canadian news subsidies don't bias journalism at all. That's a far-right conspiracy theory. It's not as though Liberal MPs are berating journalists online for not writing flattering articles. That would be some dictator state nonsense.